Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple, low-cost lycra juvenile dress. A very easy style with a scoop neck, long sleeves and plain circular skirt. To start with, purchase a pattern. I think the best pattern on the market is the Quick Sew pattern 3508. It has a range of kid sizes from 8 to 14. Pattern number 3507 includes sizes 4 to 7 for the tiny tots. This pattern is designed for ice skating and jazz, etc. So you will need to lengthen and straighten the skirt to the desired length for dance sport. Also, don't forget to buy extra fabric to allow for the longer skirt than stated on the pattern instructions. You can do a mock layout to accurately calculate the amount of fabric needed, remembering lycra is usually 150 centimetres wide. So let's get started. Okay, so all we do is we fold the fabric right sides together. And let's place our pattern pieces. Okay, so you can either pin the pattern places in place or use some weights. Now, I'd always advise you to double check twice, then cut out. For stitching your seams together, you are best to use an overlocker. However, a stretch stitch on your sewing machine can also be used. Okay, with a coffee, let's get started. I'm going to start by sewing the centre seam. Next, we'll do the shoulder seam. So I place the back, grab my front piece, and do these two shoulder seams together. and the other one. So next thing I'm going to do now is just overlock around that edge of the neck seam. Now we move on to the sleeve. To start with, I'm just going to finish off that edge around the wrist. First one and second one. Okay, now let's insert the seam. Making sure the right sides are together. I match my notch of the top part of the seam. So I'll show you here. I match that to the centre shoulder seam. And of course, match the underarm seams. Okay, so I just manoeuvre that around and stitch that into place. You may need more pins. Okay, so that's that first sleeve. Now let's do the next one. Again, right sides together, matching the shoulder seam. And matching the underarm seams on both sides. And we stitch that in place. So now we have two sleeves in place. Next, I'm going to do the side seam all in one go. So I'll first pin that underarm seam together. Down to the waist. And I'll stitch and I'll pin the seams together for the sleeve. And what I'll do is I will stitch that whole seam in one go. That's one. Now for the other side. So again, I pin the underarm seams together. Side seams at the waist. And the sleeve. Okay, that's the bodice completed to what we need to at the moment. Next, let's prepare the undies. So, that's the back. Make sure you pin the right sides together again. That's the front. And first thing I'm going to do is do these side seams here. And stitch them in place. Okay, now I don't do the crutch seam just yet. I'll do that a little later. But for now, I'm going to finish off those, just do the leg openings with an overlocking stitch around the edges. So that's the first leg edge that I've done. Now for the second one. Okay, that's all we need for the undies for the moment. Put those to the side. Next, we prepare the skirt. Now, depending on how you've cut this out, I have cut this out with a centre back seam. So I will first do that centre back seam. This is my back panel here. So I'll do that centre back seam first. Okay, that's my back. Next, I'm going to join the back to the front at the side seams. So making sure I've got the right sides together again. There's my back. Here's my front, very much the same. And what I'll do is I will match those side seams together. Pin them. Okay, and I stitch that into place. And next, I will now stitch the other side together. So that's the other side seam there. Then I lay it down and pin it in place first. And stitch. And that's my skirt. You'll see that I've got a little notch at the front, centre front, and in this case I've got my centre back seam at the back. Okay, so now with my sewing machine in place, I've got a zigzag on here, that's just a medium zigzag, and what I'm going to do is just zigzag around that edge there. I usually start at the side seam as well. And there we go, we have the undies stitched in. That whole dress, the dress, and of course undies. Now if you've got your overlocker sitting there ready, what you should do now is do that crutch seam. I'll just do that on the sewing machine for now. Okay, so that's all the main seams of this dress now prepared. all we need to now do is finish off all the edges. That's the neck edge, the leg edges of the undies, and also around the sleeves. So I might just start around the sleeves first. Again, on my zigzag, what I'm going to do is just fold that in about 1 centimetre, and I'm just going to, starting at the side seam, stitch around. You can see that, just to finish off that edge. That's one done. I say it gets a little fiddly for these smaller kids. The smaller they go, the more fiddly. Okay, now for the other one. So I again fold that in 1 centimetre and stitch that into place. Okay, sleeve seam's done. Now we do the leg openings. And I get my elastic. This is just a braided elastic, about 6 millimetres in width. And I just cut the elastic to the, as per the instructions for the length. If you're not too sure, I usually use my old method of doing them about 3/4 length. So that's how I do it. I think that's an old nitwit instruction, a long time ago. Okay, so that's my 2 leg widths. You can do this a number of ways. I normally just pin it at the bottom, make my circle, pin that in. I find the half point and I pin that to the side seam. So what I've got here is I've got the elastic pinned to the inside edge. Okay, I'm going to stitch that in place. I just obviously stretch it as I go. So you can see I've just stretched it, hold it in place and move it around. Right around. Where's that cut up? There it is. Right, and then to finish that off, what I do is I simply turn it towards the inside of the pants, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch along that edge. Okay, now to finish this off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that elastic down. This is on the wrong side of the undies. And then I'm going to stitch that in place just on the edge of the elastic. It's a bit bouncy. Must get a bit of table next time. Lovely. There you go, that's a leg finished. You can see that. One leg, and now I'm going to repeat that for the other leg. Then I pin it, make a circle, pin it, on the halfway spot. Oops. Let's not have it twisted. we go, find the halfway spot. And I'll pin that to the side seam. And stitch that in place. There we go. And as before, I'll turn that over and stitch that down. And there we go, all done. So it's the undies complete. Voila. Now, second last to the finishing off, we're now going to do that neck edge. So again, I get my elastic. Again, you can use your instructions for the length. I'll use my old knit width rules, which is about 3/4. And I'll start that at the back again, pin it in, make a loop, in the other side of the loop, find the halfway point, mark that, and I'll find the halfway point, which will be the centre front of that. Pin that. Again, this is all pinned to the wrong side. Right, you might want to pin it at the edges there. I usually go for it. Probably if you're doing this the first time, use some extra pins to what I'm doing here. So I stitch that in place. And again, I stretch that in place. I can't go too fast. This is definitely too bumpy. Okay, that's right around. And again, we'll turn it down and stitch it in place just on that edge. Okay, that's right around. Okay, nearly finished. Just the hem. How's that looking? Good, hey? Okay, now with the quick swap over to the overlocker here, we're on our home stretch. All we now have to do is the hem. I suggest you just hold it up and make sure that it is actually level. If it's not, then just give it a trim. And all you need to do is just do that hem. Best way for the hem, I must admit, is actually do a rolled hem on the overlocker. You can do any other hem that you prefer. That's probably the easiest, it's my choice. So I've actually adjusted my overlocker now to do a rolled hem, all right? Just basically, it's as easy as starting, usually start around at the back, and I go around. Again, I can't go too fast. We must get a better table next time. This is just bouncing everywhere. There we go, finished. A low-cost, easy juvenile dress, all for the price of about 2 metres of lycra, depending on how big your child is, but can be made by yourself. Have fun.